When a hurricane hits, you know to have the essentials ready to go. Flashlights, food, bottled water. I sat down and talked to a pro about how to protect your money. Here's my interview with Dennis Johnson with Bank of America. So what are you here to talk about specifically today?
Well, specifically, I'm talking about like being prepared for the hurricane, not just your physical property. I think most people think about cars, homes, but also the tools and resources you may need if the worst case scenario happens, which is your financial statements, your account numbers, your insurance information, and how to protect that and use some of the digital resources that you have access to.
So essentially what you're talking about is a financial first aid kit. What is that?
So listen, you want to make sure that if something happens, you have the stuff you need. So you think about documents that have account numbers on it. So you can take those documents, you can take utility bills, you can take account numbers, you can take credit card statements, and you can put them in a weatherproof bag, right? So that regardless of what happens, they're not going to be destroyed. And as you start the road to recovery, if the worst case scenario happens, you have access to those documents.
What about folks who are older, say like my mom, your mom, who don't use the internet and aren't familiar with digital products? What should they do?
Well, two things. One, they can have a safe deposit box if they have one, and they can have those documents put into a safe deposit box. Then there's also safes that they can put in their homes that can protect those documents as well. And if they have family members, right, that are young and have a high acumen for digital, they can have those documents scanned, and so they have access to them with the help of a family member.
Say you're in a situation like Hurricane Katrina or Hurricane Harvey where some of the banks flood and there are safe deposit boxes in there and you can't access them for days. Then what?
Yeah, so first and foremost, that is the worst case scenario. But some of the things you can do also, we have cloud, right? And so you can have documents that are put into cloud so that they are not on a hard resource. So for example, you could have a laptop, but you have no power, right? It's on your hard drive of your laptop. But if you get to somewhere and you get another tool, another resource, another computer, you can access the cloud and you can still get to those documents.
What about cash?
Listen, cash is important. So first and foremost, you should always have emergency cash on you, but not just cash in the sense of physical cash, right? There's also home equity lines of credits that you can get so that you have a line of credit that you can access for emergencies as you transition to the road to recovery. One of the things I always encourage everybody to do is meet with your financial planner, meet with your financial advisor. There are home equity lines of credit that may be a tool, but you can also look at using other assets to create a line of credit. It could be a vehicle, it could be investments, but again, I encourage everybody to meet with their financial institution that they do business with, and they can guide them the right way.
Who should know about your household finances and how much of that information should be shared?
Yeah, listen, I think that any adults that share residence together, there needs to be like true transparency around where all of the information is and how to access it. There needs to be true transparency around how much of it is there so that if something happens to one of those individuals, the other person can jump right in and continue to, again, the road to recovery.
What should folks start doing right now since the seas are calm?
Yeah, listen, I think one of the things you have to do right now is, look, we had Hurricane Beryl and we had Hurricane Harvey, obviously. And doing that, a lot of residents, they made improvements to their homes, right? They fixed their roofs. They corrected things that were damaged, whether it was fences. They made improvements too, like generators. So you need to make sure you contact your insurance company. Your insurance companies need to know all of the stuff you did to your home over the last 2 or 3 years. Make sure you have adequate coverage. Once you do that, you need to take pictures and videos of all of the high price valuables that you have at your residence. You want to record serial numbers of those items also, because if you, again, the worst case scenario, something happens and your home is impacted, you want to make sure you can clearly communicate with the insurance company of all of your lost items and the valuables and the amounts of those lost items.
Any advice for those who might be overwhelmed with the idea of getting even a thumb drive or the word cloud or digital or financial planning? What should they do?
Listen, I think that most of your financial institutions, at Bank of America, we have Better Money Habits. And if you go to Better Money Habits and you click on, disaster, or in the worst case scenario, you're impacted by natural disaster, there's a ton of literature in there. There's a ton of resources you can read, and it also directs you to resources that most of the banks can provide to you, and you can get on the phone with employees of the bank that can kind of direct you the right way if something happens.
So if I come see you, you'll sit down with me and say, hey, this is what you need to do step by step.
Step by step.
Okay, sounds fair enough. Speaking of cash, how much do you recommend that people have for emergencies on hand?
Well, listen, I think there's a lot of different answers out there, but I've always said you should have at least 3 times your monthly income. That way you can get yourself past 3 months of being sort of out of pocket with your normal routines. And so if something happens, can you live for 3 months on the income while you again go through the proper road to recovery? And so again, it would be 3 months of resources.
What are some of the common mistakes or missteps you see people do when they try to protect documents?
One, they only focus on, again, the common stuff. So, they're going to focus on their homeowner's insurance. But you need to also focus on insurance policies, life insurance policies. You need to focus on credit card statements. You need to be able to pick up the phone or get on the computer and talk to any of the businesses you do business with and let them know you've been impacted. Most businesses, most banks, most financial institutions have programs set up, client assistance programs. So once you contact them and tell them your situation, then they provide you with the resources they have, again, to help you on the road to recovery.
There's a hurricane coming, there's a mandatory evacuation. There are things that you have on the cloud, but there are some things that you have in your financial first aid kit that say includes a Ziploc bag. What should be in there?
So what should be in a Ziploc bag, again, is going to be any statements, financial statements. It's going to be credit card statements. It's going to be automobile statements. Any investment accounts. One of the things I do is I also write down accounts on one sheet of paper and I list them. I say these are bills, and I write down accounts. These are assets. I write down the accounts. And so that I have that also like a one sheet. But you need to have anything that you're going to need to access and get on the phone. The first thing they're going to ask you is, what's the account number? They're going to try to identify you so they can start to help you.
So your testimony is it's a good idea to have both in case power's out and you can't access those digital files.
Absolutely. You got to have both, because either you can't get back to your residence, or something's lost, right? Or you can't locate it. And so you want to have something with you, and you need to have something in the cloud.
Do safety deposit boxes flood?
They do. They do. Yeah, they do. But there is a process to retrieve those documents, and typically they are recoverable.
All right. Anything else you would like to add that you think people out there need to know now to be prepared for storms?
The very best thing is it could happen. Storms come, and too often I think we go through the process and it's just a routine. And we need to know that the worst case could happen, right? And we could be in a situation now where, did we do everything the right way? Did we prepare the right way? Because what makes a chaos situation more chaotic is not being prepared.
All right. Dennis Johnson, appreciate it.
Thank you
you so much.
Thank you.